What is debugging and what are the different debugging approaches? In this video, I'm going to discuss about debugging and different debugging approaches. Debugging is a process to identifying the issues and analyzing the issues in our software program. After development, sometimes it happens we got some issues which are very critical and hard to reproduce. Find out that kind of issues, debugging is required. Sometimes debugging takes hours or days, so it's very critical and lengthy process. So to debug the issues, there are different kind of approaches applies. There are different kind of debugging approaches. Number one, debugging with print statements. This is very common debugging approach which is used by each and every developer. So to debug the issues, we line by line or by function put the print statements and try to execute the code and figure out where the control is going or not. It's very common which is used by most of the developers. Number second, debugging with the debugger tools. There are different kind of debugger tools are available which execute the code line by line. To identify the issues, we can use any kind of debugger to execute the code line by line and identify the issues. Number third, code review. Code review is a good practice and a good way of identifying the issues. Sometimes we are so much puzzled that we are unable to find out the issues in our own written code. But if we ask someone else to locate the code, and then he or she can easily find out the issues in our code. So this is the good way of debugging. Number fourth, error logs. Sometimes it's happen that we are unable to find out the issues, all the approaches, then we have to put logs on server. If you are using any kind of monitoring tool, then you can easily identify or monitor the issues on your system logs. Number fifth is test-driven development. This is a good approach, or I can say good approach for development. There are less chances of errors if we use test-driven development, or if any issues comes, then we can easily identify the issues by executing the test cases. So debugging is a very critical and lengthy process, and sometimes it takes hours or days. I found an exception, but I tried to look it in my code, but I didn't find anywhere. Everything was fine, the code was fine, and the functionality was working fine. I tried to test the code on different environments, development, QA, and staging environment, but I couldn't find the exception. Then I used the error logging approach, debugging approach. I put logs on server, and on daily basis I started monitoring the logs. So it took 4 days to find out the issue for me. One day I didn't find, second day I didn't find, third day I didn't find, the fourth day I got the exception in my server logs. Then I checked the code, what happened that particular time. So I found that at 3 a.m. at night a cron job was running, and due to that the exception was coming. So this is a good approach of finding the or debugging the issues. You can use anyone according to your use case. Thank you.